They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
All right, guys. Very excited to bring y'all this video because the past two videos have literally exploded. I mean, I think it's due to Premier Gang and everyone coming out to watch the video together, everyone coming out and live chatting together, answering questions, and going through team strategy. I mean, that has completely changed this channel for the better. To be completely honest, I've been having so much fun talking to y'all during these video premieres. We've done it every single day where I've tried to answer as many questions as possible. So if you're watching this during a video premiere right now and you have any question, it doesn't have to be a super large trade question. It can be something small, like a add and drop question. Literally shoot it my way. Just type it in the live chat and I'm going to be going through and trying to answer as many as I can. If I don't answer it in like 2 to 3 minutes, just ask it again. Now don't spam it, copy and paste over and over and over again, but I'm going to continue to try to answer as many of your questions during those premieres as I can. And if you have not joined Premier Gang for whatever reason, go down there, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. But most importantly, what you need to do is you need to hit the bell next to the subscribe button. And what that is going to do is that's going to notify you whenever the video is premiering. That's going to notify you whenever we have that live chat going. That way you can come in, stop by, and just hang out with us, talk fantasy basketball. It's a ton of fun. But that's it. What we are going to be doing in this video is we are going to be going through about 5 or 6 players that have been on a tear as of late. I mean, it looks like they are not going to be slowed down going into the fantasy basketball playoffs, and I think they need to be drastically moved up our fantasy basketball rankings from wherever we had them, just because, I mean, over the past 2 weeks, they have been elite. But the first player we are going to talk about doesn't exactly fit this mold because he was already at the very top of our fantasy basketball rankings. And this is going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. So y'all know with Giannis, this was a player that I was avoiding in category formats coming into the year. And that was mainly due to the fact that we know with Giannis, I mean, his free throw percentage is going to be no bueno. I mean, it's going to be very, very poor to the point where with how many trips he's taking to the free throw line, unless you are just loaded throughout the rest of your roster with guys that are going to be able to keep you afloat in that category, you're pretty much just going to have to tank it. But in a points format, that's where Giannis is king. That's where Giannis is a top 3 fantasy asset. I think you could rank him only behind, most likely, Nikola Jokic at this point for those points formats. Keep in mind, in the category league, it's going to be a little bit different. And in the last 7 games, I mean, Giannis has turned it up to 33 points a game, 13 rebounds, which is absolutely ridiculous if you consider the fact that he's also getting you 6 assists at the same time. So we can pretty much chalk this up to Giannis is a player that's going over 30 points a game. He's getting you a combined 20 rebounds and assists. And then you go to the defensive side of the ball. And yes, I think that in a way, this kind of counteracts the negative that he gives for you in those category formats from the free throw line when he's coming through with over a steal and over a block and a half a game. I mean, some nights Giannis is just putting you so far ahead with his blocks that he's going to flat out win you that category if you're playing in a category format. So really, regardless, at this point, I mean, Giannis has just been on fire, whatever your league settings are. I think we need to be considering him in the top 3 players overall. And what's great about Giannis at the same time is we know the Bucks are going to try to do everything that they can to win in 2021. All the conversation around Giannis in regular NBA circles is, I mean, another great regular season, but he's not going to be able to do anything in the playoffs, so we don't need to pay attention. And I think what we are going to continue to see is we are going to continue to see Giannis play on back-to-backs. We are going to see a ridiculous amount of minutes per game. That way the coaching staff can try to figure some new things out, figure some new defensive schemes, and figure out how to be a little bit less one-dimensional on offense. That way when they get to the real NBA playoffs, they should be good to go. So yeah, Giannis also going to be playing a ton of minutes and a ton of games going forward. All right, so now our next player is going to be a little bit of the opposite of Giannis, where I was telling y'all to avoid him in category formats, but that's exactly where I think we can say we want him right now, and this is Devin Booker. So if y'all remember, at the back half of the first round, I didn't like the investment into Devin Booker because I really didn't think the assists were going to be there. I saw Chris Paul coming in and going, you know what, Devin Booker is pretty much just going to be playing off ball here. I'm not going to be expecting him to be able to get the pure volume in his usage for him to average a decent amount of assists and points at the same time. Where right now, I'm just looking extremely dumb because over the past 2 weeks, Devin Booker has been a solid player for anybody in a category format where he's been averaging 28 points, 3.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and I know the assist number by no means is up there with the Trae Young, is up there with a Luka. But still, 4.5 assists is plenty when you are expecting Devin Booker to have extremely high field goal and free throw percentages, as well as limiting the turnovers because we know Chris Paul is going to be the guy bringing the ball up the court the majority of the time. So right now, Devin Booker, not necessarily just completely at zero with turnovers. We know anybody averaging 28 points a game is going to be giving you some turnovers, but still going to be less than the majority of people scoring this amount of points. And the field goal percentage is at 54. The free throw percentage is close to 90. So Devin Booker looks like a fantastic guy for category formats in particular. All right, so now our next player, another guy that I wanted to avoid this fantasy basketball season. I came around on him about a week ago, and I just apologized. I said, you know what? I was wrong. I am just going to eat my words. Zion Williamson. All right, so with Zion, y'all know the reason I wanted to avoid him in drafts this year is because we were looking at him going, you know what? For a big man, he's really not going to be giving you the rebounds, and the free throw percentage is going to be tanking your category there. But with Zion, it honestly doesn't matter if you're playing in a points format or a category format because he has been historic with his field goal percentage. I mean, every single basket pretty much is either a layup or a dunk. And yeah, the free throw percentage is in the garbage, but it doesn't matter when you're shooting over 60% from the field. And with Zion, yeah, I mean, the concern for him not racking up the rebounds ended up being right. But what kind of changed here over the past 2 weeks is now Zion is getting a little bit more usage as a point guard. They're trying to turn him in to that Giannis Antetokounmpo where they can run their offense through him. And that's bumped his assist up to 5 assists a game. So even if the rebounds are a little bit low, if Zion's able to give us 5 assists a game, he can easily be an elite fantasy asset. And I would definitely still rather have him in point formats. But even in the category league, because that efficiency is going to be so high from the field, I think we can still say he's a great asset to have there. All right, so now our next player has been quite possibly the league MVP up to date, and this is Joel Embiid. Okay, so over the past 7 games, Joel Embiid has taken his great 2021 season and has stepped it up another level. I mean, now he's up to 30 points a game over the past 7. 13 rebounds, and surprisingly, 5 assists a game. We know Joel Embiid has had a history of not necessarily being able to dish the ball whenever he gets crashed in on the post. Whenever they have 2 defenders on him, Joel tends to turn the ball over a little bit more than league average. But he's been able to really correct that this year, and more specifically over the past 2 weeks to a month, where his assist ratio compared to his turnovers has drastically increased as he's been able to see the court a little bit more. And yeah, I mean, Joel looks like the league MVP right now. We also know that he's always going to be someone giving you a ton of statistics on the defensive end, where he's giving you over a steal a game, also close to 2 blocks a game at the same time. And for those people playing in category formats, Joel Embiid is still a solid option there, actually a great option there, and that he is shooting close to 90% from the free throw line over the past 2 weeks. And this is not on low volume. I mean, he's been going to the free throw line 12 times a game. So he's pretty much winning you that category flat out. And he's also winning you points. He's winning you rebounds. He's helping you with assists. And he's also going to win you steals and blocks. I mean, how many players in fantasy basketball right now in a category format would you rather have over Joel Embiid? I mean, I can maybe think of 2 or 3, and then in a points format, he is still just as elite. All right, so now let's go to our next guy, someone I am sure y'all are tired of hearing me talk about because I talk about him all the time, and this is LaMelo Ball. Okay, so I want to remind everyone, LaMelo Ball is 19 years old, okay? He is going to continue to progress through his rookie season, and over the past 6 games, I mean, he's already, I don't want to call him an elite fantasy asset, but trending in that direction where he's averaging 21 points a game, surprisingly, 2.5 3-point shots a game, 5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, and honestly, I don't want to say most importantly, but something that sticks out, and I've already explained this with LaMelo Ball, because I know some people have told me that he's bad at defense. I know that's a major criticism of him in his rookie season so far. But what I've said with LaMelo is, yeah, I mean, he's bad at making simple rotations. He's going to be making some rookie mistakes, as we should expect everyone to. But we don't get penalized for that in fantasy. The only thing that matters on the defensive side in fantasy is the player going to get steals? Are they going to get blocks? And with LaMelo, he is so aggressive on the defensive side of the ball, where sometimes he looks great. Sometimes he looks like he is quite possibly the best defender on the court, just because he's aggressive. He's willing to jump those passing lanes. And while that may end up leading to some easy back buckets by the opposing team, it also has led to 2 steals a game over the past 2 weeks for LaMelo. So that's kind of going to push him over the top from a guy that's a good fantasy asset to a great one. And I think he's only going to continue to get better because he's 19 years old. What else would you expect? All right, so now our last player that we are going to be talking about is someone that I advised you to trade for a couple videos back because he had a fantastic playoff schedule. And this is going to be Jimmy Butler, who right now in points formats is crushing it. I mean, I definitely prefer having him in a points format over a category league. And over the past 6 games, I mean, 21 points a game, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 steals. And I just want to reiterate what I said in that playoff target video where we are analyzing the schedules for the fantasy basketball playoffs. Now, of course, go look at your own league settings. Make sure that you have your weeks lining up as the same. But in a standard playoff format where 6 teams are making it, you are playing 1 week at a time. Jimmy Butler has a schedule where he plays 4 games, 4 games, and 4 games throughout the course of the fantasy basketball playoffs. So I just want to reiterate the fact that I think we need to be aggressively targeting him. The Miami Heat are not necessarily in a spot in the Eastern Conference where they can afford to slow down by any means. They're going to have to continue to just push on the gas throughout the rest of the season. So Jimmy Butler going to be someone that I would still love to buy, and he is just trending in the right direction as the Miami Heat continue to get healthier. All right, now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton, and I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow.